Here's another marriage help for us today. And the question we must ask before we get started is, do I get it? I think there's a foundational principle that I learned many years ago through teacher and author Robert Lewis, and that is die to live. And I think often we don't get it because the only thing we hear is die, and we don't like that. We believe that most of us deserve getting our way. The paradox principle is what we call it. You see, a paradox is two seemingly contradictory things, but yet when together make sense and is a truth, and that's what die to live really is. I believe the paradox principle is perhaps the most foundational and important principle for all of life, success in relationships and all of life. Luke chapter 9, verses 23 and 24, Jesus said to them all, "If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whosoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it." If you lose your life, you'll save it. See, Jesus came and died that we might live. And so there's a great principle there for us to try to implement into our own lives. Jesus gave us the perfect example of what it means to die to self, to die so that we can live. And in our marriages, men especially, we need to get this, but it's for all of us. We need to learn to die in order to live, to thrive in our marriages. And what that looks like, I think we just need to understand. First of all, there's 4 keys, I think. And first of all, we need to look at the key of awareness, just being aware of this reality. And the question we need to ask ourselves in regards to this awareness is, do I get it? Be honest with ourselves. And the answer is not nearly enough. And so how can we more understand what it means to die to self? We might need to decide that what's more important, being right or the relationship? And I hope we come down with the right answer there. The second key is our vision, and that it's in regards to what we see in the relationship, what we see in this principle of dying to self. And the question we need to ask ourselves is, do I see it? And the answer that comes is not without humility. It takes great humility to say, I don't need to go there. I don't need it. It's not that important. Being right isn't more important than the relationship, and different thoughts like that. Sometimes we think we know more than we do, or that our experience is the ultimate, and we haven't experienced everything on this earth. And so it just comes down to some humility there. The third key I think that's important to note in regards to this die to live principle is a strategy. Is asking ourselves, the question then is, what do I know what to do? What is there to do? Do I know what to do? And the answer that we must come back with is not without learning. We must be willing to engage ourselves. One of the things I did years ago, early on in my marriage, actually, I told Regina, I told my wife that I am committed to, I may not always get it right, and I didn't, but I was always committed to learning, being willing to get counseling, to read a book, to go to a conference, a seminar, and we've done all of that and continue to do so as opportunities arise. But being willing to learn and submit to that, so helpful. And then the fourth key, I think, in regards to this die to live principle is the actual execution. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, will I get it done? And the answer is not without dying some to self. It has to go there. And but boy, even though that's the hardest part, the execution, the more we walk with God, the more we let Him into our life, the more it becomes natural for us. But we have to give, and we have to let go, and we have to enter into a relationship with great humility and let God do the rest. And it is the hardest part. But someone once said, to execute anything noble, I have to execute myself a little. And that's the paradox principle. Die to live. Discover the power of that simple principle. Die to live. God bless you.